Hey guys, this is Subik from O2BT Tutorials, and in this series we're going to be talking about the coding interview. In this video I'm going to be talking about some general tips and advice, and the rest of the series we're going to be going through specific questions for you guys to practice on. Okay, so general tips and advice. We're going to break this down into the preparation and the actual interview phase. Okay, so in terms of preparation, really the best thing you can do is to get into the right mindset of tackling these questions. So it's really more about how you look at these problems and how you approach them, more so than what you do in detail to actually find a solution. Some of these questions you'll need to be very exhaustive and thorough. Some of these questions you might need to have a very streamlined, specific perspective in order to get them right. Some of them are just recalling basic data structures, and it's really knowing what approach to take, then getting it right down to the last detail. So that's very important. It's important to be able to write code on paper. So most of the time in an interview, you're going to be writing code on a whiteboard. So you need to learn how to get your thoughts across in live action, so to speak, without a keyboard or a computer screen. And going along with that idea, it's definitely very important to learn how to talk through your solutions and communicate your ideas. Just like in life in general, employers want to know that you're able to communicate your ideas to other people, like in a team, for instance. So definitely an important skill to develop if you haven't developed that already. And just sort of a fundamental thing is that you need to know your data structures. So, binary search trees, hash tables, arrays, that sort of stuff. So those all definitely come in handy for all these questions. So make sure that you review your data structures. Alright, and the most important thing, I guess, if you want to hit these 4 points easily, is to go through coding interview questions. So these 3 right here are some very fine publications that I would recommend for this very purpose, and of course the rest of the videos in this series. Okay, so that really covers what you can do to prepare. So let's talk about the interview itself. So number 1 rule is don't freak out. And the reason I say this is think of the coding interview as more of a performance than an exam or like a questioning or an interrogation. Developers want to know how well you do under pressure because they hardly lose sleep or time over the specific questions like reversing linked lists or finding anagrams in a word. Developers want to know that you can handle things under pressure, more so than being able to find answers to obscure questions. So that's why you should think of it as a performance and sort of a thought exercise, than like a questioning or even really an interview. Okay, so it's really important to be able to break problems down into examples or cases when you're just completely stuck. It's good to show your interviewer that you're not totally clueless about a question that they ask you. And in cases like this, it's also good to be able to actually ask questions back to the interviewer. So that's really a good strategy for when you're completely just backed into a corner. So that's definitely something you should keep in mind during the interview. Also, an important little thought here is that your interviewer wants a pipeline into your brain. So what the heck does that mean? Your interviewer wants to know how you think and how you figure out problems. Going back to sort of what I was talking about, like the performance aspect of an interview, they want to know that that you can think critically and that you can communicate. So they want to know, in short, how well you can do in sort of new uncharted domains and new unfaced problems. So that's where it's very important, as I was saying before, to be able to communicate your ideas. Even if you're wrong, it's important for them to know that you're thinking about it, and it's important for them to have sort of a picture of your thoughts as you're going along. Okay, so this last little point, I guess, is kind of a journey versus a destination situation. So Unless you're really specifically being asked for a particular language, or you're specifically being asked to compile code, um, it's really the process and the algorithm that's way more important than the code or the language that you do it in. So, in a lot of these videos, I'll say that I'm writing code in roughly C or roughly Python. Um, and that's really an emphasis on the logic over the syntax. So that's also good to remember especially if you're being backed into a corner. Okay, so yeah, so that's just an overview of some of the things to think about in terms of preparing for the interview and actually going through the interview, getting through it. And the rest of these videos, we're just going to be going through questions. So yeah, stay tuned, and thanks for watching.